Look at how many stacks we have. Look how much damage we're doing. We're doing no damage. 400k! Oh my god. Hey guys, a crazy new tech for Guild Bus 2 has been discovered where theoretically you could go to an infinite amount of blood with no real work and all you need is 2 units out of like a couple units, and it is crazy. So I wanted to show it to you guys right now. It's going to be a little rushed because I gotta get this out like now. But as you can see, we have some weird things on the right. And yeah, it's crazy. You might already kind of get the gist from what I'm showing you guys here. But yes, anti-heal does work. And yes, it is infinite. Now, I don't have the timings 100% put down, so I can't get an infinite score yet. And if I spend another couple hours, I probably could. I might try to push like 80k on my account, which by the way, last week got 20k. If you guys would like to like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. I spent a couple hours labbing this sort of thing, and it would mean a lot and help me to keep creating content like this for you guys in the future. So please, if you would like to, that would be a big help. But it's up to you at the end of the day. Let's get back into the video. So, it's crazy. It requires really no real effort, and it's just amazing. So, to start off, there are a couple things you have to do. Number one is bring some DPS because you still, at the end of the day, do need damage, like obviously. And then you need 1 to 2 anti-healers. I think just Lasir will work. I'll show you guys that right after this. But I do recommend you bring Lasir and Artemis or Lasir and Demi. I do think Lasir is the best for this, but you do want to bring 2 anti-healers. But of course, like I said, there's a budget 1 anti-healer version that you can do. And also something is you gotta build everyone with a decent amount of HP to survive the first phase because you do have to beat the first phase. And you also really want to bring something that stuns if you can, like Abomination, Twin Fiend, just to kind of make the first phase a little easier to survive. So here I'm going to wait on the Twin Fiend ult. As you can see, even with the stuns and the damage reduction, we're still taking crazy amounts of damage. So we do want to just kind of survive that. But once we're done this part, we get to the fun part where we just get to wail on the boss. It's so funny. So here we are. We're about to beat it. We should survive this, or at least kill it before the damage gets out. And now what we're going to do is we are going to anti-heal right before the boss revives. So the timings I like to use, or I like to wait for 1, 2, 3, 4 Lasir ult. Lasir needs his skill up for the anti-heal timing here, which is a pretty early skill up, so don't worry too much. The boss is going to revive, and as you can see, boom. It doesn't even have HP. It's not even alive. It just keeps on falling down. It's so funny. So right here, the anti-heal is still active. As long as the anti-heal is barely active at the start of the health bar filling up, the boss will die. Again and again. So keep that in mind. So you have to have the anti-healing out at that point. Here we're going to wait like 1, 2, 3 once again, and then we can just Lasir ult and it should go out in time. Lasir has a max Nightmare Samsara as well as some Rage Regen. You do not need Eloin, but to not use Eloin you need better Rage Regen, just in general. Here the boss is going to die again, once again, and then we're going to continue to be allowed to put out damage, and then when it gets up, see anti-heal out there, as long as it's when it starts to get up, the boss will then fall again. Now here I like to trigger Artemis, just in case, because the Lasir timing right here on the 3rd time you would use him is off, and I'm not sure why. Whoops, I did not mean to click that. It's fine. But as you can see, we're infinitely stalling the boss. Sure, it's gonna build up a little bit of, his stacks. Sure, if we mess it up, we lose. But the very fact that we can just do this is insane. Like, that is absurd that this is even possible. 1, 2. Now we're gonna do Lasir ult. This is around where it gets kind of scuffed. Like right there, I should have done it immediately. And now we lose because we do not have the means to deal with this phase. But if I put it out earlier, we would have kept going. And as long as you have 2 anti-healers, or even 3 anti-healers, which I will show you guys in a second, this continues to go over and over and over again. And sure, you're not getting a lot of blood per phase, and he's building up defensive stacks or whatever, but the HP doesn't matter, because if you look over here, the HP doesn't matter because he has no HP. So therefore, theoretically, if you can set either an auto with precise rage regen on your units to where they get it auto going, you could theoretically go to 500k, a million. Like, you could go past any sort of milestone you should have ever been able to get to, and it's entirely possible you could go forever, just using this. And obviously, you can't go forever normally because the boss will start doing too much damage. But if you make it so that you can't get hit at all, then you can go forever, right? So I'm very, very curious to see how far people can get. I want to show you guys what it looks like with 3 anti-healers. Some other questions though before we get into that are, does Zealous work? I just checked, as you probably saw from him being in the team at the beginning. Zealous does not work with his exclusive. The way I think that it works is instead of received healing, because the boss is technically not receiving healing, he's just, I mean, he kind of is. It's really confusing, but from what I can see, what matters is the anti-healing debuff, not anything else. Does Kriya work? I haven't tried her because I refuse to A1 her. If anyone would like to comment down below if Kriya A1 works, I don't fully know. But if she does work, please tell me, and that'll be really, really exciting. So basically, just to recap, you gotta survive the first phase, kill it, bring as much DPS as you reasonably can, and as much rage regen, and you want to have full uptime with your anti-healers. Now let me go to a friend's account that has Demi, and I'm going to show you what the power of 3 anti-healers looks like. Alright, we're on this account, and as you can see, we have 3 anti-healers. I don't think you need Lasir, but he's there just in case we need a little extra. And we just have a lot of strong DPS here. Gonna keep it going. Just keep in mind, everyone's built with enough HP to survive the beginning. Everyone's built in Sylvan Arcana. That's about it. I could probably optimize the gear a little bit, but I'm not really doing that, so I mean, there's room for improvement, but we're aiming for number 1. I do think the strategy can get to number 1. It's just an endurance battle at this point because the fight's gonna take forever. So let me just show you guys how you do it. So immediately we're just gonna chill, see what we could do. I'm gonna trigger Tortor ult here, trigger all of our DPS ults, and we're gonna try to just nuke it down as much as we can. I've mathed out the HP to where if we have 2 of those stacks, we end up surviving. We might not survive here with everyone. We do not. So then we got to try it again. As you can see, we almost killed it there, but I mean, we just don't have as much damage out for it. So we're going to keep it going. So Silas, once again, I do put Silas and Arrogance in Invig because I feel like those 2 are the most important. And now if we go over to these guys, we can just put everything down again. It happens. It's pretty normal there, but let's just keep it going. So, same general idea. Trigger all of the ults. We're gonna hopefully get 2 stuns out because then we can survive, which we can. 3 actually, which is even better. And then we should be able to kill it just fine. So there we go. Now we're going to Demi ult, and then we are going to try to alternate Demi and Artemis ults, and then we are also going to add in any Lasir ults if we need. So here, now that Demi is about to end, we're going to then trigger Artemis. Artemis is really, really good because of his ease of use. Same with Demi. So as soon as we can get Demi ult right after, we are going to once again trigger it. And we're just going to keep cycling this over and over and over again, ideally infinitely. So that is the goal here. Right here, you can see that we are struggling a little bit. So what I am going to do is I am going to trigger Lasir ult. and we should be able to fill in the gaps. There we go. And that is the entire reason why we have Lucia here, is to fill in the gaps. So I am going to watch the top. We are going to cleanse with Eloin, and as soon as it gets kind of low, I'm going to trigger it. So I think I'm actually going to trigger Demi alt, because Demi comes back faster than Artemis does. And as you can see, all is well in the world. We are doing just fine, and everything's going pretty well. So once again, Demi's about to end. We then put in Artemis, and of course, I triggered him too late. It happens to the best of us. So that's just kind of how you do it. I'm going to try to refine this a little more and get this going, and I will get back to you guys. So, all right, so this is the team I've gone with. This is kind of post-editing destined here. I got an insane score. Lasted for a very long time, which I will show in a second. But here's the team. You only need 2 anti-healers. If you bring Laia, you actually keep Artemis uptime up enough. He's in Mana Spring with as much rage regen as possible. Also Scarab. We have Demi. Demi is in Samsara with some Invig, just because we needed some more damage. Lots of HP, lots of attack speed, and the uptime between these two is 100%. If you time it right, the uptime is 100%, and we just have a bunch of DPS, and essentially what you do, you guys will see in a second, but I just want to explain it here quickly. But what's going to happen is, essentially after you've killed it, you're going to do Demi alt. You can Demi alt, and then you can Artemis alt after Demi is about, around here on the circle. If you can see my mouse, Demi will be around here. You'll see it pretty soon. You could click Artemis alt, and then just make sure you have Laia going in the meantime. And then when that's happening, Demi will actually get another alt. So after Artemis is done, you can Demi alt again. And by the time that Demi alt is over, generally Artemis will be back, because you're using Eloin and you're using Laia. If you have to, you could use Hollow as well. But this is the ultimate peak of the strategy. And let me show you my insane 90k run. Alright, so 90k, almost 90k using this strategy is insane. Look at how many stacks we have. So there are a couple quirks that have been found here so far. First of all, we have 500% increased attack and 800% increased HP for the boss. Look how much damage we're doing. We're doing no damage. 4 400k! Oh my god. 400k on a hit. It's insane. So I'm not gonna save this because Nation can get more. I'm going to continue to try to push for 120k using this strategy because it's insane. So I don't think I'm gonna get it in this recording, but just look at the leaderboards. Look for 120k plus, and if you see my score on Nation's account, you know that this is busted. So my advice for you guys is go and do this. Yes, the heroes are overpowered, but this is just me doing it fast. Like with Demi and with Artemis, you can cycle them if you have Laya and Eloin. You could cycle them infinitely, easy 120k. Like the fact that you need what 4 units to get 120k versus the what like 8 units you have to have, like it's crazy. You could use any DPS as long as you infinitely time it properly using this strategy. Like Artemis has Mana Spring, Rage Regen, and some HP to survive the first wave, right? Golden Scarab. Next we have Laya. Laya just has high Rage Regen to get as many ults as possible, and you fork Hornet just for some extra damage. We have the DPS that doesn't matter. You could honestly go broken teams. You could run like Olag 1 DPS, and if you time it well and you have the endurance, that's 120k, right? Like Demi is just there for this. Like I showed before, you can use Lasir. You could use Lasir instead. I do recommend Demi, but you could use Lasir instead. Eloin is not needed. You can run something else. What you could run is you could run Hollow. You could run Medan, you could run ideally Laya. As long as you manage the Rage Regen properly, you're going to be fine. So considering that this boss is the hardest content in the game, the fact that you can get to 120k plus, I am going to push for this. But if you see me on the leaderboards, you'll know. But like the fact that it's even possible and that it's so game breaking is crazy. Something else you could do is you could skip like a phase that you're struggling with. Like what you could run is you could run, Nazim for the first phase, you have Eloin, Carnelian for the third phase, but you're struggling for damage on the second phase because you just don't have the damage. What you could do is you could just anti-heal it, skip it. Just skip it. Like it's crazy that this is allowed to happen. So expect this to be patched in the next few days. I guarantee it will. Give it like 2 days to a week. But in the meantime, definitely use it. Definitely, it'll be really interesting to see on the leaderboards. And comment down below if this increases your score at all, how it increases your score. I would love to kind of hear it, how you figured out how to apply this a little better than I did. Because keep in mind, this was discovered this morning. Because who the hell is going to use anti-healers in Guild Boss 2? It doesn't make sense, but it's so strong and definitely going to be insane to see going forward before it gets patched. So make sure to use it, see what happens, and it's crazy. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it, and Destined signing out.